in dad mode. All right, so here's the next thing we're going to look at, see how it's built. I found this code somewhere. I couldn't tell you where. I hope it's all copacetic that I share it with you for educational purposes. Nice. Nice subtlety right here. We got a very slight white border and very slight black border, but none right there at the bottom. Right? So the first time I saw this, code looked about like this. I think I might have even cleaned it up a little bit there. It's just UL and some LIs and home about products and contact, and this is what the CSS looks like. Navigation, class navigation, list style none, margin 0, background deep sky blue, display flex, justify content, flex end. What's wrong with this code right off the bat? Look at line 20. What's wrong with this code right off the bat? Look at line 20. What principle that I'm teaching you is being violated on line 20? Max width. So why is max width not so great? Pixels is cool. I'd prefer to see min width. Why would I prefer to see min width? Not mobile first, right? This person started like, let me build it for the desktop, and then let me try to make it look good on mobile. From 600 pixels and under, now do this, right? And so the flex end is the part that's sticking all this stuff at the end right here. That puts it all at the end. And text decoration none, gets rid of the underline, display block, padding 1M, color, so that's for these anchors. When you hover over them, they change color. And then when you get under 600 pixels, it goes to a column with no padding. And navigation, the anchor, centers the text, puts some padding, a border on the top and a border on the bottom using RGBA. RGBA stands for red, green, blue, alpha. Alpha is transparency. So we got RGB 255, 255, 255. That's black. Red, all green, all blue. Crank it up, 255 on each. It's 0 to 255 are your values. There's 256 possible values for each RGB. Why 256? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 or something. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64, times 2 is 128, times 2 is 256. 2 to the power 8 is a byte. Computers like bytes. So 8 zeros and ones. And so we have the value 0 through 255 for RGB. And then alpha is just some value between 0 and 1. 1 would be completely not transparent. 0.1 is very transparent. 0, 0, 0 means no red, no green, no blue. It's white with a lot of transparency. All right, so the border on the bottom is white. The border on the top is black. You can see the white there and the black, right? Those are on the top. See the white? See the black?
I see the white. I don't see the black.
Is that? But it has transparency, so it's picking up blue through it, right? And the white's picking up blue through it because it's got transparency. Like if I crank that transparency all the way up to 1, it won't be transparent at all. It'll be solid black. Or white. 1 RGB 255 makes white, and 0, 0, 0 makes black. Let's make this one what it was before. I'll make this one 1. Sorry, I said it backwards.
And did you put your little note in there so we'll know when I look at it? I don't have to write it down.
Which is which? You can experiment like I'm doing right now.
That's okay. I trust you.
So 0, 0, 0 is black. And then border bottom. This is last of type, so the last LI, make it none, the border on the bottom. So no border bottom. So that was like the original code. And then I did this. I broke up the CSS into style and layout. So there's style, navigation, list style none, background deep sky blue, similar stuff, but that's just the. And now I have a min width 600, so I did mobile first. And on the layout, I did HTML, body, UL, LI, and anchor, padding, border, margin to 0. This is like a CSS reset, but I'm just resetting those values. And so the difference is when you see this one, it's like that, and the one before was like this. Let me just bring this in. For the HTML, the body, the UL, the LI, the anchor, I said padding, border, margin are 0. So just sort of reset those from the browser settings, default settings. And then navigation, display flex, flex direction column, so mobile first. And navigation, anchor, display block, and then over 600, flex direction row, flex end. So easier to read, right? Broke it out into layout and style, and then did the mobile first. But still some of the stuff is like, this isn't the most performant, because right here, a space between CSS selectors, you read CSS selectors right to left, and so the browser says, okay, I need to find all the anchor tags, and it goes and finds all the anchor tags. Now I need to find anchor tags that are descendants of a class navigation. It has to look for each anchor tag, look at every other tag up the DOM, all the way to HTML, right? And see, do you have class navigation? That takes a long time. So that's not very performant just to do a descendant. So this would get all anchors which are a descendant of navigation no matter how deeply nested they are within the CSS. So that's not fast for browsers to do. And when I say not fast, like you measure computer speed in like nanoseconds, or even smaller. So instead of doing that, I created some classes, class nav and class nav-a. And so for my layout, I have HTML body ULLIA, and then I have class nav, and I have nav-a, display block, right? And I have media all and nav. That's pretty straightforward. Let's look at the styles. I think that's where it got a little funny. Nav, and then nav-a. Nav-a hover, nav last was one more class I created. So instead of having this line here, right, where it's okay, anchor tag, and it's a descendant of this, let me look all the way through the DOM for that, and then when I find this, look all the way up the DOM from that, all possible routes up the DOM, see if it's beneath class navigation, right? Instead of all that, nav last. So when it hits this, nav last, there it is, it's applied. It doesn't have to go looking up the DOM to see if it's descendant of something which could possibly be somewhere way up the DOM tree. And that'll help your web page display more quickly, render more quickly. Layout, nav-a, style, hover. And so that was getting border bottom none, right? Was kind of like one of the big pieces instead of having this crazy tag. Like, that's a crazy tag. Like, even you read that and you're like, okay, I got to spend some time figuring this out. Same way with your browser, right? Your browser, oh, I got to spend some time figuring that out. But when you read this, nav last, you're like, sweet, no problem. Let me just see what has class nav last applied to it. And you're like, goes right there. Isn't this much easier to read and understand than this? Like, which would you rather try to figure out what it's targeting? This one, right? The dash is just a dash. It's not any kind of a operator. It's just like, I just made a dash. And then we already saw this vertical center one, but good to sort of review, just as we're learning about all this. So we have body, which is a flex container, and justify content, so along the main axes, which is horizontal, it's going to center stuff, and the line items, and along the vertical axes, it's going to center stuff. So it's going to center that div, which is the immediate direct child inside of body. It's going to center it vertically and horizontally. And that div has got some width and some height, and it's a flex item. It's got a border, it's got margin, and then it's got flex 0 on auto. That's grow, shrink, and then basis. And so it doesn't grow, but it shrinks, and auto means just inherit its width, and it's as the initial size, and the width is 800 pixels. And then we make it a flex container, and it centers things, you know, justify content. The main axis is a row again, so justify content centers it horizontally, line items does it on the cross axis, centers it vertically, and then the paragraph we just put a red border about it. So that just centers everything. And what would happen if we didn't have flex shrink? I'm kind of curious. I don't shrink. I am 800 pixels. So let's shrink. So nice. We have the taco menu. No breakpoints. Probably would have been good to put one in. But, whoa. I've never seen that before on my computer. So we have body with 80%, margin 0 auto, display flex. So it's row, no wrap. Immediate direct children are nav and main. So those are flex items. Nav and main, each put a border around them. And give nav a width of 200 pixels, and main flex 1, which means flex grow is 1. So main will grow. Could have also maybe tried width 100%. Because making those flex items, nav and main are no longer. I wish there was some way you could see what something's like. You could debug it and say, what is your display value set to at this moment? But if we didn't have flex, let's take off flex. Let's take off this flex. Let's make that width 100%. What's our taco menu look like? See, they're operating like display block. And things which are blocked take up a whole line, take up as much space as possible. This one took up as much space as possible. Right? It took up all of body, which is set to 80%. If we took 80% off, it takes up 100%. Right? So that's what block display does. This one we just set 200 pixels. When we put 80% on, well, that one takes up 100% of 80%. Right? And when we turn display flex on, it's like, you know, this one's got a width of 200 and this one's got a width of 100, but they no longer behave like their display block because we said row. And so put them all in a row. Same way when you do ULLI, right? The menu items, like if we have menu items here, ULLI right here, taco menu. So if I was to make UL flex container, these dudes are going to go into a row. So let's do that. Let's take this off just so that we got some room, and let's make this no width so it goes out all the way. And then let's do UL. And we're going to make it display flex, right? Which means take all of my immediate direct children and put them in a row. So that's going to take those out of being a column and put them in a row. I was raised by a Southern preacher, so I am well within my rights to talk like that.
It has a discrepancy. It'll be a full page, but it'll be lined up as if it's all smooshed together. And my question is, because it's not something that I made, am I able to, let's just say if you were looking at any page or website that you were looking at, can you go in and change the source to it and have it print the way you want to, using what we're doing in this class?
Yeah, you could do it right here.
Like, you know, someone that did bad coding.
Right here, you can start changing CSS, but then as soon as you reload the page, it resets it. So if you wanted to, you could do something.
Would it display it, or would you be able to print it, though?
Well, yeah, I don't know how, I don't know, can you just add a rule? Looks like there's a plus sign. And so there I'm adding a body rule. Well, maybe I could do at media, right? Print. And then I could come over here. I don't know where that just went. Maybe I'd hit tab or something to get in there. At media print. Do you know how to get in there, Alan? At media.
So we're looking at this through a laptop and desktop, but let's just say I'm on my cell phone and I want it to show a full screen. Because you said when we're doing our work, we start mobile. You build it for the mobile first.
Yeah.
And so, like you gave an example earlier, you had said,
Directly in your phone, you have an option to desktop view or mobile.
Okay.
And then it uses with, that's usually
But that would be definitely automatic switch, so it's good.
on your phone. Like when you're in like Chrome or internet, like settings, you have all the options. Like it choose like desktop or mobile.
But you know what I'm saying, I want to disable it. So let's just, just for example, I want to disable, I want to scroll across the screen, you know, for whatever it's saying. When you turn your screen sideways, it's you're able to view it in a larger font. So I'm just thinking, that's why I was asking, can I go on somebody else's site and actually, am I able to, if it's, I'm putting for print and I'm looking at it, and I know the code has changed, because they're printing, for whatever reason, their code is showing the print as, instead of being stretched out like this, it's very small.
Hi, Bob.
I
I don't know. Maybe you could show me that later and we can play with it.
Okay.
So just finish this out and then we'll be done. That's the taco menu. And to understand what it's doing, we got that body part, which is the 80%, and then we center it, and we turn that into a flex container. The two immediate direct children are flex items, nav and main. And nav, we give it a width of 200 pixels, so it takes up 200 pixels. And then for main, we just say flex grow, which is flex 1. I could have also just specified flex grow. Same, slightly different. Interesting. We could have maybe done flex 0 auto. Maybe it just fills those defaults in for us. That's not as cool either. Because the width on that, maybe it's picking it up out of the comment. No. Very interesting. So no shrink and auto width. And the width for main, it would look to main. Main doesn't have a width. So maybe we need a width of 100%. And it picks that up. Kind of interesting. It works well with Flex 1. About like that. Likes that. Doesn't like this. So flex grow, flex shrink, and auto, or flex grow 1. Something you got to play with. All right, so we'll look at this other code here. We'll just do left off. Left off right here. We'll pick up right here. On Tuesday. Anybody have any questions? How many people got your money's worth today? Learned something new?
I liked the code with the buttons. They're really nice.
Oh yeah?
I just copied it like 3 times so I don't use it. Or I don't lose it. 'Cause I
Oh,
really liked it.
you won't lose it. And the JavaScript's not too complicated on that.
Even without, I mean, just what you showed us on your first to 11, that code, it's really nice.
Cool. All right, see you guys next week. There's some homework up, so take a look at it.